Is it wrong for an Apple-based channel to say that I am more excited for the Galaxy Note 22, the S22 Ultra, than the iPhone 14 Pro? Well, we just ordered ours in and I can't wait to get my hands on it, especially to do another blind photo comparison challenge, which are super fun and they're super entertaining. So if you guys want to see another one of those, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. Now, I'm also going to be switching from my iPhone and going to the S22 Ultra for at least 2 weeks as we are testing it out, but potentially that could be my main phone, with my iPhone becoming a side one because I do still need it because of 7 specific reasons. And the first one is definitely the design. Now, some of you guys may know that this year I did not go for the Max model iPhone for the first time in years because the regular 13 Pro had the same exact features. So why would I want this big S22 Ultra? Well, even though the screen is bigger than Apple's and the battery life is also bigger, as well as having additional cameras and a built-in S Pen, it still weighs less than the iPhone, and it is actually narrower as well, meaning that even though it has a big screen, it is still easier to hold in the hand. And of course, we had to go for the Ultra model because it has the best specs out of the whole S22 lineup. So if you want the most features, you have to go for that one. Now, I am so happy that they stuck with the Note design, and now again with the ability to fast charge up to technically 47 watts, but of course most will use the 45-watt brick. Now, I love this design, and I was sad to see Samsung not release a new Note and just do the folds last year, with the rumors of the Note lineup just merging into the S series. I thought they were gonna keep it with that same S series look and just ruin the Note, but thankfully they didn't do this, and they brought back the Note design, and now that is the top of the line Ultra series of the S lineup, and that just makes a whole lot of sense. I've owned many Notes, even the very first one, which I loved, but this design, in my opinion, is Samsung's best ever. The S21 Ultra is probably the most ugly, with a really terrible camera bump in my opinion. Now, I'm not sure if I like the new design on the Note better than the previous one that had a single camera bump, but you guys let me know your thoughts down below. The second is the screen. Now, of course, the screen is very similar compared to before, but it does go down to 1 Hz to save battery life, and it's able to keep up 120 Hz at the full quality instead of having to compromise. With the Note 20, I actually kept it at 60 Hz because I could definitely tell the difference when you lower the screen resolution, especially when you are reading text. But what I'm most excited for is the 1700 peak nit brightness display. That is crazy. It's crazy that it's even better than Apple's XDR screens that hit 1600 nits, and I'm excited to see how bright it gets when you're watching HDR content, and more so than that, how it does out in the sun, because they never reach the peak limit when you're using it in normal SDR, but it should be better than before. And the third reason is videography. They are making this a huge point this year. Now, as far as the sensors and stuff, not a lot has changed, but processing can make a huge difference. With the S20, when they advertised 8K like crazy, it actually looked terrible, even worse quality than shooting 4K with the same phone because of processing. But with future iterations, they made it quite a bit better, and with the S21 Ultra, the 8K video looked so much better that we actually went ahead and compared it to a professional $5,000 camera shooting 8K video, and in good lighting, it really held its own. Unfortunately, it is still only 24 frames per second, which can make it choppy sometimes, but I still cannot wait to test it out. And with that, I want to check out the nightography that they're calling it, nighttime video. Now, as you guys know, with photos processing over the last few years, and HDR stacking has made quality so much better, but when we switch our iPhones to video mode and low light, it still really suffers because they don't have the same processing that you get with night mode photography. So I'm looking forward to seeing how good this night video is in the real world. And of course, with that, we also have the photography side, which is number 4. We've taken a few trips within the last year, and at those trips, I really wish that I had the telephoto lens from the Samsung camera in my iPhone. The telephoto camera quality can also get quite a bit better with processing with digital zoom, and of course the iPhone 13 did get a 3x zoom, and it got quite a bit better than the iPhone 12, but it still cannot compare to having an actual telescopic camera. And we also know that even the iPhone 14 will not get that kind of a camera. We have to wait at least till the iPhone 15. The S22 Ultra also has that 3x camera, just like the iPhone. That helps out when you don't need to zoom in that much. And in the past, they have had issues with processing with that camera and the smaller sensor, but processing should make this look quite a bit better, and I can't wait to test it out. And also the 108 megapixel mode, which same thing with processing. You didn't have as good dynamic range. You had other issues, even though you had more resolution and detail compared to Apple's 12 megapixel. When you were in that high res mode, it didn't look good, but processing should make this a lot better. And to make that processing better, we have the new 4nm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, which is the 5th reason. Now, I don't think this is as big of a deal as Samsung wants you to believe it is, but it is really cool to see a 4nm processor be put into a phone. And of course, that brings out a lot of competition to keep Apple on its toes and not slowing down with their Bionic series chips. Now, CPU performance didn't get that much better in single core, and the same thing with multi-core, and it's still behind Apple quite a ways, but the real improvement comes in with graphics performance. We're seeing an increase from 77 FPS in GFX Bench all the way up to 115, which is a 50% improvement in OpenGL. And when GeekerOne switched over to Vulkan, it got an even bigger improvement of 57%, pretty much matching the 815 in the iPhone 13, which is a huge increase in performance. Now, Apple has always been ahead in benchmarks, but of course, in our real-world gaming tests, there were a lot of times that the Samsung actually proved to be better. So I can't wait to test out my favorite mobile game, Call of Duty Mobile. But with that performance increase, we have a huge jump in power usage as well. This is likely the most power usage in any smartphone, pretty much reaching tablet levels, basically the same amount of power as Apple's M1, which is crazy. And with that much power, you have to be able to cool it down, and Samsung does have really good thermal solutions in their phones, way better than Apple, which is not doing anything. But with that much wattage, you are still gonna get throttling, and GeekerOne showed it off where it actually slowed down to 66.8% of its full performance under heavy stress tests. Now, that is pretty extreme, and in real world usage, it probably won't be that much, so we will be doing another head-to-head gaming comparison against the iPhone 13 Pro Max, so make sure you guys have notifications enabled if you guys want to see that. Number 6 is the S Pen. Now, over the last 6 months or so, I've been really getting into taking notes for my personal life, my goals, things I'm working on, and I really wanted the Fold 3 to be a great device that can do that for me and be a great phone, but it was just too big and it had other issues as well. And of course, with the S21, not having that slot like the Note series meant you had to have this janky flip case that made it a lot more bulky to be able to actually keep your pen with you. But going back to this Note, it's all built in and very useful, so I'm really gonna be trying to make the most use of the S Pen. And 7 is the fact that this might be possible this year because I did not buy the Pro Max model. I bought the 13 Pro, which is much smaller, lighter, easier to keep in your pocket as a secondary phone. And of course, I'm really stuck in Apple's ecosystem. I use a lot of their exclusive features. I'm loving AirTags. I use Find My Friends and my items all the time, and I have my Apple Watch as well, so I can't just get rid of my iPhone. I do need it, but now, since I won't have two huge phones, it'll be a lot easier to be able to keep that and use something else. So I'm super excited to be able to test out the Note 22 Ultra and use it. If you guys think the same, let me know down below. We're gonna get it in. We're gonna do a ton of videos, head-to-head comparisons, tests that you guys don't see on other channels, ones that are fun and informative. So click that circle above if you guys wanna check that out and help us reach our goal of 1 million subscribers, and check out one of those great videos right over there. This has been Max, and I will see you in the next video.